Today, we answer the question, how do you create raving fans who give you repeat and referral business?
On the Wandering But Not Lost podcast.
Welcome to Wandering But Not Lost, your online source for finding balance so that you can align, connect, and prosper.
I'm living right here and now, and I don't want to miss out. Is this what life's all about? The world is calling and I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening.
And now your hosts, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Well, welcome to the Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. This is episode 155, and you can find all of our show notes over at wbnlpodcast.com. Jen O'Brien, what's happening?
Well, it's a gorgeous day here in the wonderful state, the Sunshine State of Florida, where it is sunshining. And
Remarkable.
Well, cooler. We went from warm to back to 66 degrees. We were in the high 80s, and now it's 66 degrees. So I like it. Still a little wintry.
Hey, my sweet pea. The Biden administration announced 2 days ago that all teachers were going to have one shot in their arm by the end of March. As of today, my fourth grade teacher wife has one shot in the arm. So thank you very much, Biden administration. Teachers in the district, I mean, almost everyone in her school has been scheduled for their first shot. Literally within 2 days. It's pretty exciting.
Good stuff. So how did it go for her? Did she have?
It was fine. I have to say, you just don't, every shot location is going to be a little bit different depending upon where you're going. Like I've been watching these locations like at stadiums and like they're doing it at Disneyland, where there's just thousands of people show up. Well, she had an appointment to go, and it was at a high school here in Orange County. And oh my God, the whole thing took 20 minutes. It was the most amazing thing. Absolutely amazing. So, I think we were very, very lucky with the time frame and everything on that, but it just couldn't have gone smoother. And the people, oh my gosh, she said they were just so amazing. So that's awesome. And I know you already have your first shot, so we're getting vaccinated.
Let's do it. Let's get back to the next new version of what life looks like.
Exactly. Then let's turn this page and then find out what's on the next chapter of everybody's life. So.
Well, and the good news for all of you that are real estate professionals is the business continues to be there. Yes, we have low inventory. Yes, we have those challenges continue. I really think the light at the end of the tunnel is coming second half of the year. But in the end, there are people that need to sell their home. Not as many as we would like, but you got to find that. I had a coaching client yesterday, Sharon. Shout out to Sharon, working in the DMV area. That's the Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia area. She's licensed in all three states. She's like killing it with listings. And I'm like, you keep doing that in all markets, right?
Yeah.
So today we want to talk about that a little bit. We're going to just talk about this continuing theme of, in this day and age, it's always been this way, but I frankly think now more than ever, it's important to separate yourself, to stand above all the rest by the way that you create repeat business and referral business. And to me, that's creating raving fans. There's actually a book written on creating raving fans. And I think that even using that book, if I can't remember who the book is written by, it's a real small book, but it's Nordstrom's. Nordstrom's always comes to the top of people's list in retail because of the no questions asked, policy that you can come back and it's going beyond. There's a couple hotels that are like that, where it's all about the experience of the consumer. And that is what the consumer has come to want in all levels of business. This is why they're using review sites and checking things out. We've been talking about that for years, how important it is to get client reviews and to have a presence online. But really, the only way that's even going to happen is what we're going to talk about today.
It's funny. You bring up Nordstrom. You bring up Nordstrom, and it's so true. That store has morphed, as far as the way they display merchandise, the merchandise that they actually have in their store has really changed. They have kept up. That's why there are still Nordstrom around, right? As opposed to so many other places that have gone out of business. But one thing they have never, ever gone back on is that VIP service that they give. So, or especially with return policies. So it's pretty amazing.
And that's what we're talking about. How do you create, raving fans? Well, we're going to pull a couple of slides. If you go to our YouTube channel here, podcast listeners, we do have a couple little things here for you. That is about the answer to that question. is what Matt Emerson is going to have on this slide, is how do you create raving fans?
Are you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
You're listening to the Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. Join us and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and now on YouTube.
Because for those that are saying, well, that meaning people who continue to refer business to you or they do business with you, they're repeat clients, which is really what we want, right? Mm-hmm. The answer is, ding, 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 for a 5-star VIP customer experience.
Bet you didn't see that coming.
And that's it, right? So let's focus on that. That should be everything that you're doing needs to be about that, because we're ultimately wanting to take people down a path that they are going to give you a 5-star review on the various sites that you can be reviewed on. And it all starts with communication. And honestly, for all the years I've been doing this business, I think it's probably the same for you in your experience, Matt. Complaints from consumers, the number one thing, if they were to do surveys on this, is the lack of communication. Most people are so frustrated across the board, I think in any business, about not being heard, number one. That sometimes people just, if they have something going on, they just need to be heard, and that can solve so many problems. But communication, all I mean here is, are you clear about the method of communication that your client prefers? So maybe you love texting, but you might have clients who don't like texting. They may want you to direct message them on Facebook, for example, or they may want you to pick up the phone and call them or send them an email. Right. We're all different in this respect. Like me, I don't want another email. I now have like 6 main emails I have to check on a daily basis.
That's right.
It's overwhelming how much junk email we get. It's like junk mail, right? So find that out up front. And what you do is you're honoring your client's wishes by understanding how they want to work with you, right? Don't just try to make people be like you. So that's number one. The other thing on this is be the first to be communicating with your clients, meaning stay ahead of communications. Don't make clients chase you down to get an update. That's not VIP experience. No. Staying one step ahead of all of that through, and we're going to talk about a couple of ways that you can do this. Because lack of communication, even if you have no good news or nothing to share, especially when we're in a market, for example, here's a great example. When we shift back to a market where it's buyer's market more, it's going to be a little while, but where listings stay on the market for longer than 60 or 90 days. I mean, I remember times when it was taking 120 to 160 days for listings to sell because there's so much inventory. And the only way to get things to sell would be to be really under market, great condition, all those good things. Now, that's tough when you're a listing agent, because you're going to check in with your client on a weekly basis and you got nothing to say. So people will skip it. And short sales was another example. Buyer needs an update. And you'd call your buyer, Matt, and say, you know what? We're in week 6 of the short sale process approval, and I still have nothing to say to you, Matt. There's nothing new. I just want to check in with you. That's better than going a month and not talking to your client, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks where people will start to awfulize if they don't hear from you.
Can you imagine, you do that, you touch in every week and you have nothing to say, and that week that you do, oh my God, they're going to be so thankful for you. It's not even funny. It even builds that anticipation, right? Right.
So the whole point on communication is just make sure you are thinking like how you want to be treated. It's a golden rule, right? The platinum rule, whatever you want to call it, the rule that says you are taking care of people. You're staying ahead of the game. You're delivering more. You're going the extra mile. Don't tell people you're going to do something and then you don't do it, right?
That's right.
So listening to what people want. And that really brings us to this whole thing, which we've talked about this before, but I loved the 4 agreements when I was putting this together for training on this whole how do you do the customer service VIP experience. I started to realize, or something that came up, was how people take things personally, start making assumptions. And it's like, oh yeah, the 4 agreements. Why don't we review the 4 agreements? So if you've never read this book or listened to the audio, check it out. It's just a little short book. But it has some of the best wisdom, life-changing agreements that if you embrace these 4 agreements, it could just change all your relationships, all of the way you get along in life. And let's just talk about it for a second. So it's by Don Miguel Ruiz. I always have a hard time. Ruiz. I'm trying to roll the R. Ruiz. It's not happening. Ruiz. There you go. called The 4 Agreements. There's other books he's written. Just go to the basic 4 agreements. And here they are. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. So being impeccable with your word is all about integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. So that whole thing about over deliver, under promise, over deliver. A lot of people over promise and don't deliver, let alone under deliver.
That is so true.
Okay?
Yeah.
So being impeccable with your word in customer service. And a lot of times the lesson for me in that one was be impeccable with yourself, with what you're going to say about taking care of yourself and doing what you need to do. So you show up better for other people and taking care of people when you're taking care of yourself, right? I mean, this is a tendency in our business to work, in commission sales. All the high producing agents are just so chaotic, and I find, unless they really focus on taking care of a balanced approach to their life, their relationships suffer, which then starts to causes stress, which impacts the way you're communicating with your clients. So be impeccable with your word, including how you are with yourself. The two in the middle, to me, are the big ones because they go hand in hand. And this is just communication 101, right? Sometimes people will take something personal. The way things are, you said it before, Matt, the way things are put in a text or an email can be so misconstrued.
Yeah, it's so
right?
easy. Yeah.
It could be misinterpreted. You do something quick or in the heat of the moment, and you send something via text or whatever, and the other person gets the message, but not necessarily the message that maybe you wanted to send. And people will start taking some things personally, which also leads to, oh, he must be upset with me. And then I go down this whole path of assumptions when I don't even have all the information. This happens in business dealings all the time, making assumptions about the other agent or what you think your client is going to be like or do. And this can all be cleared up with one simple thing. And it goes back to the first point I've made, being clear in your communications.
Yeah.
Having the courage to be able to talk to someone. And I'm telling you, I think this is the biggest issue for most people. It used to be one of my issues. And maybe just from getting older, you start to realize, I'm going to stop worrying about what everybody thinks.
Yeah. It's part of wisdom. It's part of the wisdom of aging. It's true.
Well, and what I mean by that is as a people pleaser,
yeah.
People that are people pleasers, you want to do whatever you have to do to take care of everyone else. You don't want to hurt anyone else's feelings, all those things. So you're not even willing to have an honest conversation with someone that says, you said something to me the other day. And I started to go down a path of overthinking it, making assumptions and taking it personally. And I just wanted to clear the air because maybe I didn't even hear this right. And that's the issue. That's what I mean by the courage to not confront. People don't like to confront either. That's the issue because they feel like they're going to feel bad, make the other person feel bad, or they're going to make me feel bad or whatever our issues are. But just really work on that. And the best way to do it is just be clear in your communications and be willing to take responsibility for things that you said or the way you heard something. Boy, isn't that the truth? Well,
totally is. There's a big difference, though. There's a huge difference between not caring about what other people think and owning and being and owning your own conversation style. Because just your way or the highway is not a way to communicate either, right? You need to be able to listen. So if you own your communication, you are transparent with what you're saying, there is no reason why you shouldn't talk to people, right? And they will appreciate it because you're laying it all out on the table, and it makes it so much easier.
The way you do that is that if I was upset with something Matt said because I took it personally, and then I stewed on it for a week or two and made assumptions about, well, he must be meaning this and thinking this, and that's what we do. Like we worry about it, we think about it, we sleep over it, and then I finally have a conversation. And the wrong way to do this is to say, when you did this, you made me feel blah blah blah. You said this, and that's not the right way because that's blaming. It's where you basically say, this is what I heard you say. I take responsibility. This is how I felt when you said it. I'm not sure if that was your intention. Did I get that right? Where did I misinterpret? You got to go that way with it. And then you'll find out this whole piece about not just personal relationships, friends, kids, family. We're talking business relationships. Yep. When you're able to just have this conversation with your own client and get clarity around it instead of, because we have a tendency to go and then call someone and say, you're not going to believe what my client did today. Blah, 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 right? So then you stew on it. Then you clear the air finally because it's what you need to do to get it to clear it. And you're like, oh my God, I made a mountain out of a molehill that was 100% not right. Why did I do that? And the point is, why don't you learn from that? And that's what these 4 agreements are about.
Yeah, just think about the angst you've created in your life for that. I'm telling you, I appreciate and I'm grateful for you, Jen O'Brien, as a business partner, because you and I, for all these years, we have really good communication. That is not a problem for us. And I'm thankful for that, because you see, and, a lot of the reasons why teams in real estate break up is because of the lack of communication or poor communication between the team members. So I'm
And
great.
it doesn't mean that we sometimes don't agree.
That's not about that.
We
Exactly.
have strong personalities. I've had, you learn when you're working with someone too, to be able to, in any partnership, in any relationship, you're learning to give and take. You can't, you have to find that middle ground where everything works. And I'm a controller. I know that. And I don't have to control everything.
We're spending a lot of time on this because I'm telling you, as far as getting rave reviews, this is a huge part of it. Communication is a huge part of the whole process.
Yeah, all right. And then always do your best just simply means that you're just doing the best that you have for the energy that you have today.
Right.
So the next piece on this, of course, is the theme I've been dealing with in the recent months is just made me realize that how maybe we don't talk enough about this whole idea of how do you continue to become that trusted advisor for your clients, be that local market expert, be an expert in the niches and the target markets that you choose. Don't try to be all things to all people. And why this is in my mind right now, because of, for years, I was a realtor / broker team leader going into the 30th year here next year in the state of Nevada. And so I'm comfortable with the real estate industry. I've seen a lot of things. I don't know everything, but I certainly know a lot of things. But I just moved to a new state. And guess what I'm feeling? I'm starting to feel a little bit like, oh my God, I've got to go learn all this. It's different. It's a different set of rules. There's different state laws. There's things are slightly different. As we coach people around the country, we discover all the differences and nuances of escrow states versus attorney closes and so forth. But the point I'm making here is the only way that you are going to develop the people seeing you as that go-to, if I think real estate, I think Matt Emerson, is the way you communicate, which we've just talked about, and how when you are working with people, they see you as that negotiator and that trusted expert, and they actually believe you're taking care of them. That is it. They have to know. This is what people want. There's a study from NAR every year. At the top of the list of traits that what buyers and sellers surveyed said, most important thing is honesty and integrity, and the knowledge and expertise of the agent, the ability to walk them through all the milestones and landmines, if you will, that are in a real estate transaction. That's it. That's what the consumer wants. You have to deliver that. And the only way to do that is study. Experience will get you there. But in between the experience, if you're newer, you've got to study. So what am I doing right now? I am devouring everything that is available to me. I just joined the local association of realtors. I'm waiting for my info to come back. And I already found stuff that was free on Florida Realtors, the local association, great statistics. I'm starting to study that. I'm finding videos. I'm learning how to write contracts. That's what you have to do. I'm visiting new home tracks. I'm doing all those things. You got to learn all the types of transactions. You have to understand about financing if you're not familiar with it. What's new? How do you do all that? You go find the resources. You go to the local and the national real estate resources and you read, you study, you take classes, right? So anyway, that is the big piece on that, demonstrating your expertise. And then it's always in the follow-up, right? Once you finish a transaction with a client, what are you doing to stay in touch with them to continue to show that you provide value so that they will, and you're doing these great touches with them, like the local newsletter. That's the thing we really love. Having a client appreciation program, maybe conducting seminars, doing other things throughout the year that you're keeping people informed and being that local trusted advisor that keeps people up to speed with what it is that you do for a living, right? Those are the ways you do it. And then you'll stay top of mind and then people will refer business to you. And at the end of a transaction, you'll be in a position where you'll be able to ask for, and maybe you might have to ask several times and get that review, that 5-star customer review. Do we have another point in here that I wanted to do? Yeah. That was it. During the transactions, one of the things here that I had some notes on, and I think this is such a great VIP experience, and it's something I haven't done yet in our team, and it's on my list of things to make happen this year. But we believe in a before, during, and after approach, the holistic approach to a life cycle of a client. So you have all these things that you do to initially connect with people, buyers and sellers, develop and nurture that relationship, start showing that trusted, becoming that trusted advisor. And it's through the way you communicate and what you communicate. Then during the transaction, as soon as you put the deal under contract, open up your escrow or whatever your process is in your state or province, is that you have other little touches that you use. And the best way to do this, in my opinion, is templated emails. So you're going to talk people through, all right, Matt, here's what we're going to do next. Congratulations. We're under a contract. You're going to, make sure you go send your deposit to here. Don't, let me talk to you about wire fraud. You'll have these communications with people verbally. But remember, people only hear about 10 or 20% of what you say.
That's right.
At any given time, right? Because of filters and generalizations, not paying attention, whatever it is. So what if you had 4 or 5, 6 different, just think of milestone events of what happens that you could just have a template in your CRM. If you're a Google user, I love the template add-on in Gmail. You just have to go to your settings and you'll see add-ons, I think it's actually called, and turn on templates. It's just a little thing that you turn on, and all of a sudden in your Gmail, you will now have the ability to an email that you write again and again and again every single time. You simply save it as a template. And then you can call that template up saying, congratulations, we're in escrow. Next steps, right? And then you can come in and customize that, boom, send it off. And so you stay ahead of it and you're walking people through and they get these little touches from you. So it's going to be things like useful information, turning off their utility, on their utilities, sellers off their utilities, moving checklists. For the buyer, it's things like choosing a home warranty, choosing a home inspector. For a buyer that's getting a loan, it's going to be, congratulations, you're fully approved on your loan. Now, don't go do any of these things to jeopardize the status of your loan.
That's right.
You can't assume that people think that. How many times, for those of you listening that have been in the business a while, you only have to learn this lesson once. Buyers don't understand everything. So a good lender is going to say, during this transaction, don't open up any new lines of credit. Don't go buy a car. Don't go buy all that furniture that you're going to put in your house. As soon as the person hears we're approved, the process isn't done yet.
Right.
And jeopardize, if their ratios are tight, they may now not be able to get that loan. So these are all things you can do to touch clients and really, really honestly, they'll be like, wow, this agent is so on top of it. It's like giving them a professional home buying guide. A lot of these things can be in the home buying guide that you would give them, but what if they misplace that? This is why I'm saying there's 4 to 5 key things in a transaction that you could just shoot an email out.
Honestly, you cannot over communicate in real estate.
No, right? And then what do you need to bring to the closing appointment? Big deal is to make sure they really clearly understand wire fraud. We recently had this happen in our team.
Yeah.
And that is, thank God the lady was able to recover her funds, but it was $90,000 plus that she wired because she fell for one of those phishing, scamming, hack techniques that people are using to make it look like they're you or they're the title company. And she thought she was supposed to do it. And even though she had been told by the agent, so just be aware of that. And then, of course, after, so BDA, before, during, after. Now it's the congratulations. There's maybe, we particularly on our team love using, we discovered mailbox power. It's like send out cards, but we felt it was better for our team and had some more real estate connections. But what we do is 4 touches after the closing that have little gifts like a tape measure. People love this. That mug, there's a mug that if you're seeing the video on YouTube, there's a mug that has a picture of the house that they purchased.
I love that. That's so awesome.
And people just like that, right? And it's got your brand on it. The tape measure is something people aren't going to throw away. And if they gave it away, it's got your information on it. So little branded gifts, a little brownie is something that you can send. And then the other one we send is, another thing we send is in the seeds, like for planting something. And that's a classic real estate thing. But 4 things that we created as a team, it probably costs somewhere, depending on if they want an extra thing in there, a water bottle, $60 to $80 a year that you pay for 4 touches, set it and forget it, and they just go out with all your information on it.
Yeah, you get that next referral from them, and it's going to certainly pay for that $80 that you spent.
Well, and honestly, so they get the little something, and then there's a cards that you design one time, and then it's going to continue to actively say the next, we're never too busy for your referrals, whatever your line is. Who do you know who might be interested in buying or selling real estate? Don't hesitate to call me so I can follow up. That is, in a nutshell, communication before, during, and after.
Absolutely.
And then simple touches of things that you can do, little things that just make a difference. We were talking about, we teach this kind of stuff all the time. So Matt made me think of the other day, we use this software called Kajabi. Do you still have that by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Of
Kajabi.
course. I've got it right here.
Kajabi is the gold standard, in my opinion, for online training programs. A lot of people use it. It's more expensive than others, and we've tried all kinds of things, but we're so happy with Kajabi because of first of all, great service, great product. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
you have to have that first. You can't fake this, right?
Right. So we were a bit impressed with that. But then you talk about us wanting to continue to refer people. Explain what happened. So all of a sudden, Matt got something in the mail.
Yeah, we hit a milestone, a financial milestone, actually, in Kajabi. And, we had talked about it amongst ourselves in our company, but, the UPS guy arrives at the door and knock on the door, and there's this great little box that's sitting down there on the step. This is the lid of the box. It talks about leveling up, right? Which is super cool. And then you open the box up, and inside, there's this little, you did it, happy dance time, which, by the way, I did a little happy dance because it told me to do it, but I was kind of doing it anyway. And then there was a neat little travel mug that said Kajabi on it. There was this great little notepad that was like a dry erase notepad, which, by the way, I'm sending to Jan O'Brien because I know that she will use that. And then there were a couple other things. There was a pin that's, had our milestone on it. And then there was another thing that I just found yesterday because I thought it was mints because it looks like a little mint container, but in there was another pin. It was just a Kajabi pin. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that, nothing big, I don't know how much they got the price down in this too, but it certainly wasn't very much money and well worth the money for them because, like Jan just said, we were Kajabi fans already, but now there is no way. My God. And then they gave you this little tease that can't wait for you to get to your next milestone. So we know already that at the next milestone, we're going to be receiving another little gift bag. And I think it's pretty cool.
Well, and they're doing all the things that we're talking about, right? So they are selling a SaaS software. It's a subscription-based software that is not cheap, but it's worth every penny.
Every penny.
And then they don't have to go this extra mile, but this is going to, when we say thank you to your referrals, somebody gives you a referral and you send them a thank you card and enjoy a coffee on me, or here's a gas card, or whatever. And people are like, wow, they didn't have to do that. I would give you the referral anyway. And then it's almost like we will not hesitate. We wouldn't hesitate before we got a little goodie bag from them to say, oh yeah, you have to use Kajabi, right?
Because the point was, like I just said, it's because they already provided a great product, right? So this was going the extra step. Canva did the same thing. I'm going to tell you, when I received my Canva, I did a Canva print order, and when that print order came, it wasn't just a box of my flyers or my note cards. No, it was also another fantastic box that said something really great inside. And then, it had a couple little doodads with it, a couple stickers and a coupon for 30% off the next order. I mean, that kind of stuff goes a freaking long way as opposed to just being a box of note cards.
Yeah. And then in between, both those two companies are 5-star companies. They're educating you. They're helping you with, here's something new. That's exactly what we're saying, doing for your clients. You are a business owner. So as you continue to work with people and they're in your list, in your database, why you need a CRM is because you're sending a newsletter. You're keeping them informed in your area. They're staying top of mind. We do this to remind people that we're here when you're ready or when you have a referral for us. But at the same time, you're also educating people. You're providing some value. And this is all we're talking about doing. So you think in your world, where have you been wowed by some customer service, and how can you adapt that to what you're doing in your world? We covered a lot of that today, and you're just well on your way to having a great business because you'll continue to have repeat referral business, plus you'll get great reviews, which will bring you more business. That's it. That's all you have to do. Everybody have a good life.
Good stuff. Well, that is a wrap for episode 155 of the Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. As always, you can find all of our show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. Jan O'Brien, I love talking about building, a great business and then having 5-star service. I worked at Disneyland for 7 years, and talk about a company that puts money into training you how to give the 5-star experience. Well, that is the one that does it. You know what I mean? And I just think about all the different classes that I took that they provide for just hourly cast members and their management cast members that just went into this is how you handle situations. And I'll tell you, there was a one class was only on communication. So, just how you communicate with, especially people that are disgruntled. But you cannot learn this enough. And to that point, individuals, if remember you are a business owner, so you might be the only person in your little company, right? So you have to take it upon yourself to actually train yourself to be that way, because it's not usually innate in most people.
100% I agree with that. And we have shared that before. I remember finding the Disney Herd technique, HARD, on how to deal with complaints, negative feedback and reviews, which can be handled. So all is well in our world. All right, everybody, make it a great week. We'll see you in the next episode.
That's right. And, don't forget, we do coach tips in our private Facebook group every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Jan does coach tips on Monday, Cosmo tech tips on Tuesday, and Canva tips from me on Wednesday. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, you can go to Facebook and type in WB&L Wanderers Club, and we'll be more than happy to accept you into that group. Looking forward to seeing you all 3 of those days as we continue to educate and help you grow your business. So with all that said, I'm telling you, I'm feeling, Jan O'Brien, that we've kind of turned a curve on COVID. It's too early to unmask yet, so make sure you mask up at least for the next few months. But I feel like we might even get part of summer.
Yes.
It's kind of exciting.
We may actually be able to take a trip this year. Yay.
I know, I can't wait to wander. I'm telling you. So on that note, be forever wandering, but not lost.